Okay, I need to talk about something because I am genuinely cooked. My nephew, he's 11, looked at me last weekend and said, completely deadpan, "You have negative aura, Uncle Chris." And then his friend went, "No cap, he's cooked." And they both walked away. I stood there like a man who just got his whole existence clocked by someone who can't drive yet.
You got mogged by a fifth grader. That part.
That is that part. And what's unhinged about it is I understood maybe 60% of what he said. Like, I know what cooked means. I know what no cap means, but negative aura? Since when does my 11-year-old nephew talk like he's reading my horoscope?
Okay, so aura is actually one of the more interesting ones because it's doing real linguistic work. It's not just brain rot. Aura is basically your social energy, your perceived coolness, your presence. You can gain aura, lose aura. Someone does something embarrassing, minus 50 aura. You handle a hard situation with 0 reaction, aura farming. It's a whole economy.
It's literally a social credit score, but for vibes.
It's giving main character energy meets quantified self. And the fact that kids have built this entire invisible point system around social interactions, that's not dumb. That's actually kind of sophisticated. They've gamified social awareness.
Okay, but here's my question. Is this actually new, or are we just being the exact same confused adults that every generation produces? Because I feel like my parents had the same energy when I said things were fire.
No, because, and I need people to clock this, both things are true at the same time. And that's what makes this interesting. Yes, every generation creates slang. That's not new. Your grandparents said the bee's knees. Your parents said groovy. You said that's fire. The pattern is ancient. But, and this is the but that matters, the mechanism is completely different now. And the mechanism changes everything.
Break that down.
So previous generations got their slang from physical subcultures, jazz clubs, skate parks, hip-hop, punk scenes. You picked up words from people you were actually around, in communities you physically inhabited. A word like cool, which started in black jazz culture in the 1940s, took decades to reach mainstream usage. Decades. There was friction, geographic friction, social friction. Slang had to earn its way into the broader vocabulary.
And now?
Now, a Twitch streamer coins a word at 2 a.m., and it's in every middle school in America by lunch. Rizz went from Kai Cenat's livestream to Oxford Word of the Year in 2 years. That pipeline used to take a generation. Now, it takes a news cycle.
The algorithm ate the entire distribution system.
Deadass. And here's the part people miss. The algorithm doesn't select for the best slang, it selects for the most engaging slang, the most memeable, the most likely to produce a reaction. So the words that spread aren't necessarily the most expressive or useful. They're the ones that hit the engagement buttons hardest.
So the slang that survives is the slang that's most optimized for going viral, not the slang that's most optimized for, like, communicated.
Exactly. And you end up with 2 tiers. You get words like rizz, which is genuinely great slang. It fills a real gap. It's 1 syllable. It captures something specific that we didn't have a casual word for. Charisma is too formal. Game is too strategic. Rizz is effortless romantic pull, and nothing else meant exactly that. That's language doing what language is supposed to do.
Rizz is valid. I'll give them Rizz.
But then you also get skibidi, which means nothing.
Literally nothing.
It comes from a YouTube series where toilet heads fight camera heads. It has billions of views. And the word itself is a nonsense mashup of 2 songs. Kids use it as a general modifier. Skibidi this, skibidi that. And what it actually communicates is pure membership. It's a shibboleth.
Oh, going biblical on me.
Book of Judges. The Gileadites used shibboleth as a password at the River Jordan. Say it wrong, you're an outsider. That's what skibidi is. When a kid says it, the semantic content is 0. The social content is everything. They're saying, I'm in this. I know this reference. Do you?
And the answer for most adults is absolutely not.
Which is the point. The confusion is the feature, not the bug. Slang has always been about drawing borders. It's how young people say, this is our space, and you don't automatically get access just because you're older. The specific words are arbitrary. The function is tribal.
Okay, but I want to talk about something that low-key bothers me about the whole every generation does this relax take. Because there's a pipeline here that I don't think previous generations had to deal with.
The manosphere pipeline. Yeah, let's not be delulu about this.
Right, because when a 10-year-old calls himself a Sigma, he probably just means, I'm cool and independent. He saw a guy in sunglasses with funk music. He didn't read a manifesto. But the word, Sigma, Alpha, Beta, Mog, those come from pickup artist forums and red pill communities. That's where the taxonomy was built.
And the laundering process is wild. It goes incel forum, meme page, TikTok edit, your child's elementary school. And each stage strips away context. By the time Mog reaches a 9-year-old, it's been so thoroughly memeified that its origins are invisible. The kid doesn't know. The parents don't know. The teacher absolutely doesn't know. The word just exists now. No history attached.
Mog literally comes from a Mog, alpha male of the group, from pickup artist culture in like 2005.
And now, 8-year-olds use it to describe who has the best Roblox avatar. The word traveled 20 years and 3 subcultures to end up there. That's a whole journey.
So should parents be crashing out about this?
Not about the vocabulary itself, but about the algorithm behind it? Yeah, pay attention, because a kid who watches Sigma edits might get recommended Andrew Tate clips. A kid who engages with hierarchy content gets pushed toward increasingly extreme takes on gender, dominance, social worth. The words are the entry point. The algorithm is the escalator.
The slang is the gateway drug. The recommendation engine is the dealer.
And that's what makes the relax, it's just slang take incomplete. Yes, it's just slang. But no, previous generations' slang was not being A/B tested by engagement algorithms and connected to a radicalization pipeline optimized for watch time.
Okay, now I need us to talk about the thing that nobody wants to talk about because it makes everyone uncomfortable. The AAVE thing.
Period. Because this is actually the most important and least discussed part of this entire conversation.
A massive amount of what gets labeled Gen Z slang or internet slang is just black slang that got strip mined.
8. Slay. No cap. Bussin'. Period. That part. It's giving. Finna. Bet. These aren't internet inventions. These are words and phrases that Black communities, specifically Black women and Black queer communities, have used for years, sometimes decades, that got picked up by non-Black teens on TikTok and suddenly became new.
And then the exact same words get called unprofessional or improper English when Black people use them in job interviews.
That part. That's the cycle. Black people create it, the internet adopts it, it becomes mainstream, everyone uses it, then it gets attributed to internet culture, with the origins erased. The original speakers, who've been using these terms as part of a legitimate, rule-governed dialect that linguists have studied extensively, still get penalized for the same language in professional settings. It's not just unfair, it's extractive.
It's cultural strip mining, but make it linguistics.
And the speed makes it worse now. In previous decades, Black slang crossed over through music, through proximity, through genuine cultural exchange that at least had some element of understanding and context attached. Now, a Black creator coins a phrase on Monday, it goes viral Tuesday, and by Friday it's being used by suburban teens who have zero connection to the culture that produced it. Context gone, history gone, just the word remains.
And then it gets called cringy 2 months later and discarded. On to the next extraction.
While the next piece of Ave is already queued up for the same cycle. And Gen Alpha is accelerating it even further because they're encountering these words completely detached from any cultural source. At least Gen Z was often hearing this language from Black creators directly, on Vine, on TikTok. Gen Alpha is hearing it from other non-Black kids who heard it from other non-Black kids. It's a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy.
The meaning gets thinner every generation.
Until it's just sound, just aesthetic. Slay used to carry the full weight of Black queer resilience. The idea that existing in a hostile world and still showing up looking incredible was an act of defiance. Now it means, nice outfit, in a YouTube comment. Both usages are fine, but the loss of depth is real.
Okay, hardest question. Are we watching actual cognitive decline? Because brain rot The kids named it themselves. They know. Is the constant exposure to this rapid-fire, context-free, algorithmically optimized content actually rewiring how young brains develop?
I need to be really precise here because two different claims are getting conflated, and it's making the conversation dumber than it needs to be. Claim 1. Kids today are less intelligent because of their slang. That is false. Demonstrably, measurably false. The ability to rapidly adopt, remix, and deploy new vocabulary across multiple social contexts is a sign of linguistic intelligence, not its absence. These kids are code switching between formal English in the classroom and a completely different register with their friends, often multiple times per hour. That's cognitively demanding. That's not brain rot. That's sophisticated.
The code switching is actually harder than just speaking one way all the time.
Way harder. But, and this is claim 2, the attention patterns that produce this language are worth looking at. The reason slang cycles faster isn't because kids are smarter or dumber. It's because their media diet is fundamentally fragmented. Average attention per piece of content is shrinking. Everything is reference, remix, reaction. And the question, which we genuinely don't have enough data to answer, is whether growing up in that environment affects sustained focus, deep reading, the ability to sit with one idea for 20 minutes without checking your phone.
So the slang isn't the disease. The slang is the symptom.
The slang is the cultural artifact of an attention economy that rewards novelty and speed above everything else. When adults mock kids for saying skibidi, they're clocking the symptom and missing the entire system. The words aren't the problem. The machine that produces and discards them at industrial speed, that deserves the scrutiny.
Okay, real talk. I catch myself using this stuff. I've said no cap unironically in a meeting. I called something bussin' at dinner last week. My girlfriend looked at me like I needed medical attention. At what point did I lose the right to be confused by my nephew?
The moment you said no cap to someone over 45 and they looked at you the same way you look at your nephew. You're in the middle of the chain now, Chris. You're not the elder confused by youth. You're not the youth creating language. You're the 30-something wearing Gen Z's hand-me-downs right as Gen Alpha decided those were already coworker core.
I'm literally coworker core. That's devastating.
That is your aura right now. I'm sorry.
My nephew clocked it before I did.
Kids always do. And honestly, that part is healthy. That's how it's supposed to work. The moment you fully understand youth slang, it stops being youth slang. It needs to stay one step ahead of you or it loses its function.
So the confusion is permanent, like by design?
By design. And here's where I actually want to land on something hopeful, because I think the anxiety around all of this. The kids can't communicate, language is dying, brain rot is destroying civilization. It misses the bigger picture. Language is alive. It's supposed to mutate. It's supposed to make older people uncomfortable. That discomfort is the sound of culture regenerating. Every generation that panicked about slang was wrong. Every single one. The language survived. The kids were fine. The words changed and the culture kept going.
But you said earlier that the mechanism is different this time.
The mechanism is different. The algorithm is real. The Aave extraction is real. The manosphere pipeline is real. Those deserve attention and action. But the core phenomenon, young people inventing language to define their generation, that's not a crisis. That's civilization working as intended.
So what do we do as the confused middle generation? Do we try to learn the slang? Do we, God forbid, start saying skibidi at work?
Please, do not do that. Nothing accelerates the death of slang faster than a 38-year-old adopting it. You will be clocked immediately. Your aura will never recover. Here's what I'd actually say. Be curious, not performative. If your nephew says something you don't understand, ask him what it means. Not in a let me study you like a specimen way. Genuinely. Kids love explaining their world to adults who actually care. That's respect. You're saying, your culture matters, and I want to understand it. Not awkwardly trying to cosplay as one of them.
Be a good anthropologist, not a bad tourist.
Exactly that. And honestly, some of this stuff is genuinely creative. Aura as a quantified social currency? That's an interesting concept. Cooked as beyond saving? Funny. It's giving as a shorthand for the overall impression something creates. That's doing real work in one phrase. Choppelganger. An ugly doppelganger? Come on, that's clever.
Choppelganger is actually elite.
It is elite. These kids aren't degrading language, they're stress testing it. Some of what they make sticks and enriches the vocabulary. Some of it burns out in a week. That's how linguistic evolution has always worked. We just get to watch it happen at 10 times speed now.
All right, so to recap, every generation does this. The AAVE pipeline is real, and we should name it. The algorithm is the actual concern, not the vocabulary. The manosphere to playground pipeline deserves scrutiny. And I should absolutely stop saying no cap at work before my coworkers stage an intervention.
And for the love of everything, stop saying bussin' at dinner.
It was one time.
It was enough. Minus 50 aura. You're never getting those back.
My nephew was right about me.
Your nephew was always right about you. That's the final lesson. The kids are always right about you. That's their whole job.
Cooked. I'm actually cooked. Thanks everyone for listening.
Until next time, stay curious. And remember, the moment you think you understand the slang, it's already moved on without you. That's not a failure. That's the game.
No cap.
See, that's exactly what I mean. You just proved my entire thesis.
I'll see myself out.